Hey there, this is John. I'm the instructor slash facilitator for this class, CET 130. We're going to be looking at some Linux operating system commands and things we can do managing our operating system. But this first video that I'm doing for this class, and there'll probably be a lot more as the semester goes on, but in this first video, I just wanted to show you guys a little bit about installing a product on your computer called Fedora. And this is a version of Linux that we're going to use. And all these different Linux operating system flavors, they're all open source, so you don't have to pay anything for them. And they're all based on Unix, which is a operating system from back in the day. And so let's go ahead and get started here. Now, the first thing we're going to do, because I'm assuming that the computer you're using is a Windows computer of some sort. You're running probably Windows 10, Windows 11, maybe Windows 7. I don't know. You might have an older machine. Most of the stuff should still work. But the machine I've got today is, I think this one is a Windows 11 machine. I forget. I've got a lot of different computers. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to type into my search bar here, Oracle Virtual Box. All right, I know my typing's not great, so. Okay, so VirtualBox, here it goes. Oracle VirtualBox, virtualbox.org. Now, this is going to be some software that you can run that doesn't cost anything. So again, we're using very cost-effective softwares here. So we're going to go ahead and download this puppy. And you might be running Mac OS of some sort. Some Macs have Intel chips and some have Apple chips. If you're running a Linux of some sort, like some people run Ubuntu on their home computer, if you're running Solaris, which is probably not very likely, but here it is for a Solaris host. Solaris is a form of Unix that runs on Sun Microsystems computers. All right, so we're Windows host. So we're going to download this thing. And we're going to download VirtualBox. Save it. Okay, now I've already got VirtualBox installed on this computer, but I'm going to pretend like I'm installing it for the first time. So I'm going to double click on my download here. And it asks me, do I want VirtualBox to be able to make changes? Yes, I do. Okay, I accept these terms. And I'm just going to take the defaults for all this stuff. And yes. And install. And eventually, okay, finish. And you can uncheck that thing where it says Start VirtualBox after installation. All right, so here is our instance of Oracle VirtualBox. Now, okay, whenever you first open yours, you're not going to have all these machines here because, unless you've had VirtualBox running in the past and you've got, like Ubuntu or something like that. And some of these are like Macintosh implementations that I was working with a couple of semesters ago, and I don't use them anymore, so I should just delete them. Okay, so what I'm going to do for the time being is I'm just going to minimize VirtualBox Manager. Get rid of that. Okay, now, VirtualBox is a handy tool, but it's not much good if I don't have something to run in my VirtualBox. So what I'm going to need to do is find and download something called Fedora. Okay, Fedora, I think it's fedora.org, but let's just search and see what we come up with. Okay, the Fedora project, fedoraproject.org. Okay, this is operating system that we're going to use, and what we're going to do is click on Get Fedora, and we're just gonna use Fedora Workstation. That should do what we need it to do. Okay, these guys say they're the leading Linux desktop. All right, I believe them. Let's download it. All right, now we're using, it just so happens that we're using an AMD chip, but whether you're using Intel or AMD, this is the one you're going to want. Okay, so we're going to download this ISO. This is an installation file. Okay, now this file is fairly large. It's 2.3 gigabytes, and so if you've got a slow-ish internet connection, it may take a minute. So what I'm going to do, because I don't have a super fast internet connection here, I'm actually using a wireless connection, so I'm going to pause the video because it's going to take a few minutes for this thing to download. So several minutes later, our download is complete. Okay, we've got our Fedora Workstation ISO. All right, so now what we're going to do is go back to our VirtualBox. Here it goes. And we are going to go to Tools, which, whenever you bring up your VirtualBox, then default is going to be Tools unless you've got some machines already running. So we're going to install something new. Okay, this is going to be our Fedora and my ISO image, other Fedora Workstation. Mine defaults to my download directory. Okay, now see, this stuff down here is grayed out because it's automatically selected for you. This is going to be a Linux install. It's Fedora. It's going to be 64-bit, which hopefully you've got a 64-bit operating system. I'm assuming that you do. Skip unattended installation. I typically, if that box is available, then I'll check it because I don't want to do unattended. I'm going to sit here at the computer and make sure it goes like it's supposed to. All right, now the base memory we're going to be using. I think 4 gigabytes is sufficient, but, I'm just going to give it some more. 8. Because this machine has 32 gigabytes and it has plenty of processors. Now, you want to use, if you've got a multi-processor setup, which I'm assuming you do, you want to use at least 2 CPUs. I'm just going to use 4. Create a virtual hard drive. The default is 15 gigabytes. Just in case I want to install some additional softwares here and there, I'm going to increase that. I'm going to make it like, I don't know, I'll just make it like 100. There we go. All right, so here it is. Now let's click on Finish. And with any luck whatsoever, this thing is going to crank up right off the bat. So let's go ahead and see if we can start it and see how it goes. Okay. All right, test this media and start Fedora. And this may take a few minutes. Just going to close that little side window. Starting up a Linux workstation is a little bit different than starting a Windows workstation. With Windows, all this stuff is going on in the background for the most part. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. But with a Windows operating system, all this stuff is hidden whenever you're sitting there and there's like a little spinning wheel in the middle of the screen, that means the operating system is running through its preliminary testing and setup, and then eventually it shows you a screen that says Welcome to Windows. All right, and yay, here we are. Okay, so let's see, we're going to go ahead and do our installation. All right, and I speak English. And I use a US keyboard. Okay, and we're going to use automatic. I'm not going to turn on encryption. Okay, that looks fine. And now we're going to begin our install. Okay, this is going to take a few minutes, so again, I'm going to pause. Several minutes later, we get this message saying installation complete. Yay. All right, so we're going to click on Finish Install. Okay, so here we are. And now if you look, you've got Firefox you can cruise the web with, and files. This is kind of like the, hang on. This is like the File Explorer in Windows. You click on Files, and it comes up with, and it looks kind of like Macintosh in a way. Oh, have we got any music? No. Okay, up here, this little bar, I can't remember the name of this thing, but it's like activities. Anyway, you click on this and it'll bring up this little window down here, show apps. And one of the apps that we're going to be using over and over again is going to be the Terminal app. Okay, when you click on that, that's going to bring up a window kind of like the Windows command window. And this is where you're going to be typing in a lot of the commands that you're using for your laboratories. So for the time being, just kind of play around with Fedora a little bit and look and see. LibreOffice is kind of like Microsoft Office, but it doesn't cost any money, and it includes things like Calc is like Excel spreadsheet. And we got a document scanner, Impress. Let's see, where is that? Yeah, here it is, the Office Writer. So you can actually use this to create documents and type. And then whenever you go to save your document, you can save as, and it gives you some choices. And you can save it as either an ODF document, which, okay, this is going to be compatible with Apache OpenOffice, for example, but you can also save it as a Word document if you want to. And that way, if you don't have Word installed on a computer, you can use this and you can save your document as a Word document. And I'm not going to save it. I'm just going to exit out. Oh, oops. I didn't mean to do that. Don't save. Don't bother. Okay, so anyways, that was what I was wanting to show you guys. This is installation of your Fedora machine in a virtual box. Now, when you get your assignment finished, whatever it happens to be, make sure you screenshot it so you can submit it. And then you're going to close, okay? And it's going to ask you, do you want to save the machine state? In other words, kind of like save your work. Or do you want to just power off the machine? Now, I generally save my machine state so that the next time I open this thing up, it'll bring me back to where I was. Most of the time, that's what I'll do. Unless, like if I was working on a lab and I somehow or another messed it up, then I might just shut down without saving so that I can reopen the virtual machine and start all over again. And so sometimes you might want to do that. Okay, so from now on, whenever I come in here, and I've got several different virtual machines. Like if I wanted to run Windows 10 instance, then I can just click on Start and I can bring up Windows 10 because I've already got that installed. But now whenever I go to restart Fedora, I can just highlight it. I'm going to bring up Oracle's VirtualBox Manager and then click on Start. And that's going to start up the machine and take me back to where I was the last time I was using it, because I chose to save the machine state. Alright, so that is, I try to keep my videos to 15 minutes. This one's gone to 16 minutes, and so I'm going to go ahead and stop it here, but don't worry, you're going to be hearing plenty from me as the semester goes on.